Blake Shelton had always believed that the voice stage carried its own kind of magic, bright, loud, buzzing with adrenaline. But on that particular day, something felt off the moment he stepped into the studio. The audience hadn't even been seated yet, and still a strange heaviness hung in the air, almost as if the walls themselves had overheard something they shouldn't have. He tossed a glance toward Gwen Stefani's dressing room door, which remained firmly shut. Normally, by this point, Gwen would have been floating around backstage, greeting crew members, rearranging snack bowls, or humming some bubbly melody she'd woken up with. But today, nothing. Blake exhaled, rubbing the back of his neck. "Here we go," he muttered, heading straight for the door he already knew he'd knock on more times than he wanted to. He tapped twice. "Gwen, you all right in there?" Silence. He tried again, gentler this time. "Babe, we start in 15. Still nothing. He frowned, pulling gently at the doorknob. To his surprise, it wasn't locked. He eased the door open. Inside, Gwen sat at her vanity, elbows on the table, face hidden in her hands. Her blonde hair spilled like a curtain around her shoulders, untouched by the stylists who usually fluttered around her hours before airtime. "Gwen," Blake stepped inside, closing the door behind him. "Hey, what's going on?" When she lifted her face, Blake felt something sharp twist inside him. Her eyes were red, really red, and not in the cute, I watched a sad movie before breakfast kind of way. Something deeper, raw. "I don't think I can do the show today," she whispered. Blake froze. Gwen Stefani, the woman who had faced stadiums, criticism, heartbreak, and comeback after comeback, she didn't think she could do a live tapping. "Talk to me," he said softly, pulling up a chair beside her. She stared at her reflection for a long moment before speaking. "I read the comments from last night." Her voice wavered. "Blake, people hated my decision. They said I cost that contestant their chance. They're saying I'm ruining the show." Blake groaned internally. "You know you can't read that crap." "I know, but I did. And it wasn't one or two messages, it was hundreds. She let out a shaky breath. "I feel like I'm not good enough today." He reached for her hand, giving it a warm squeeze. "Gwen Renee Stefani, you've been in this business for 3 decades? And you're telling me some strangers behind keyboards are suddenly experts in coaching." She let out a weak laugh, but tears still shimmered in her eyes. He shifted closer. "Look, you didn't get here by being safe or perfect. You got here because you're you, and every choice you make on that stage comes from your heart. People don't always understand heart." "But what if they're right?" she whispered. "What if I made the wrong call? What if I'm embarrassing myself, embarrassing you?" Blake's brows rose so sharply she almost laughed again. "Embarrassing me? Gwen, the only thing embarrassing would be if you let a bunch of comments, most of them written by folks who can't carry a tune, stop you from doing what you're amazing at." Gwen wiped her cheek. "You really think I can face everyone out there?" "I know you can, and I'll be right there with you." He gave her a small smile. "You know I'm not exactly shy about putting loudmouths in their place." She leaned against him, resting her forehead on his shoulder. "I'm just tired, Blake. It gets overwhelming sometimes." His voice softened. "Then let me carry some of it with you." Another knock sounded at the door before Gwen could answer. Carson Dolly peeked inside, his expression tight with concern. "Guys, crew's asking for a status update. We go live in 9. Blake gestured for him to come closer. "We've got a situation." Carson took one look at Gwen's face and nodded. "Say no more. What do you need?" Gwen straightened herself, breathing slowly. "I just need a minute." Carson offered a reassuring smile. "Take it. We'll stall if we have to." After he left, Gwen pulled a tissue from the box. "I hate that I let myself get to this point." Blake shrugged lightly. "You're human. Happens to the best of us, even me." She rolled her eyes through her tears. "When have you ever broken down on this show?" He leaned back, thoughtful. "Season 11. Remember when I lost that kid in the knockouts and spent the entire drive home questioning every decision I ever made? I ate 3 cheeseburgers trying to cope." She laughed, really laughed this time, and Blake couldn't help grinning. "See, we all crack sometimes." He stood, offering her his hand. "Come on, let's get you ready." Gwen hesitated, but something in her eyes shifted. Not confidence yet, just belief. Belief in him, belief in herself. She took his hand. The stage lights were bright, almost too bright, as Gwen stepped into the blind audition ring. The audience roared the moment they saw her, the same audience she'd been terrified to face 20 minutes earlier. Blake watched from his chair as she lifted a hand in a shy wave, the corners of her mouth trembling but determined. When the first singer of the night walked out, Gwen straightened, shoulders pulled back, fingers gripping the edge of her glowing red button. By the end of the performance, she was standing and clapping, the earlier fear melting from her posture like morning fog. And when she pressed her button, spinning her chair around, the audience erupted, cheering, shouting, celebrating her choice rather than tearing it apart. Blake exhaled. He hadn't realized he'd been holding his breath until that moment. Gwen turned in her chair and found him already looking at her. She didn't speak. She didn't have to. Her eyes said everything. "I'm okay now." When the tapping wrapped hours later, Blake lingered near the stage steps, waiting for her. She walked toward him, exhaustion in every step but a proud smile on her face. "You were incredible," he said. I just needed to remember why I'm here." He pulled her into a warm embrace. "And if you forget again, I'll remind you every time." She let out a tired sigh against his chest. "Thank you." He kissed the top of her head. "Always." Later that night, in an interview for the show's behind-the-scenes special, Blake didn't hold back. "People think these coaches are superhuman," he told the camera. "But Gwen had a tough morning. She had a breakdown, and honestly, it made me love her even more. She's strong, real, vulnerable, and she still walked out there and gave the contestants everything she had."